Well, good morning. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty. Welcome to the new Cosmic Knowledge channel. Sorry that our sound is not that great. I should have got my other microphone, but I've got some amazing, tremendous information to bring to you today that I think is going to be life-changing. I think it's completely outside the box. Good morning, Rachel. And I think that it's going to make a profound difference in your life. As we talk about the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning is the end is the beginning. We've been sold a bill of goods when it comes to the Bible. Big surprise. We've been sold a bill of goods when it comes to the book of Revelation and the book of Genesis. Thanks to Breaking Dawn, Deborah L. Smith, who kind of put me on to this idea. And I want to talk to you about something that's completely outside the box. And I want to encourage you to get these MYSTECH bracelets. They'll change your life. Go to jeffreydaugherty.com, hit the MYSTECH logo, get a full 20% off, and they will change your life completely. You asked me, Jeff, have you made such profound changes in your life over the past 3, 4, 5 months? Well, these are a big part of it. We'll have Halo back on again this week. Subscribe to the Sandra D. Angelo channel. Of course, Sandra is my partner both in life and in this work, working side by side to help you level up and be better than you are. Let's get right into our lesson for the day. And speaking of lovely and talented Sandra, there she is. So let's go ahead and take a look at our lesson for the day. And it really is, I think, going to be sort of a lesson because it's powerful, powerful stuff. And I want to, there we go, powerful, powerful stuff. Alpha and Omega, the beginning is the end. New cosmic knowledge in Genesis and Revelation. And I want to talk a little bit about this entire thing. And we're not talking about the Bible here today. And in fact, the book of Revelation probably shouldn't be in the Bible. It's not really a biblical book. It's more of a Gnostic book. It's more of a initiate book. It's more of a arcane knowledge book. But at any rate, it is in the Bible. And if you remember the saying that's in Revelation 1:11, it says, I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. Write it in a book. That's the only hint I'm going to give you right now. But Revelation, more than probably any other book in the biblical text, is written with the words of the Master in mind, that it is written only for those with eyes to see and with ears to hear. What does that mean? I mean, we all have eyes. And all of our eyes can see. We can see, most of us, colors. We can see depth perception, unless you have problems with your eyesight. You can see trees, you can see walls, you can see computers. You can see a lot of things. You can see everything within this three-dimensional reality with varying degrees of acuity based upon your own personal optical situation. So everybody can see everything in this 3D realm. Everybody can hear everything in this 3D realm, some with more acute hearing than others. So what was the Master talking about when he said, these words are written only for those that see, only those with ears to see, or eyes to see, only those with ears to hear? What was he talking about? Well, if everybody can see everything in 3D, if everybody can hear everything in 3D, who are these books written to then? Who was the Master speaking to then? He was speaking to people that can see beyond 3D. And I mean literally see. Of course, the first step is to try to perceive, to try to understand, to try to wrap your heads around it. But the intricate knowledge, whether it's found in the 25% or so of the Bible that is diamond and not dung, whether it's found in the Nag Hammadi scriptures, I don't really have an estimation on that, whether it's found within the words of the Eastern faiths, of the Southern, whatever faith is found in, because the Christ said that he came to bring us the best. The Master said he came to bring us the best of all human religions and traditions, and to bring it to us in a very workable format. So whatever you think is true, whatever is true to you, the Master is saying that if you just see the 3D, if you just see what everybody else sees, these things aren't written for you. And if you don't have any desire to see beyond this world, these things aren't for you. You might as well leave now. It's not going to resonate with you. But if you want to see into 4D, 5D, 6D, and beyond, if you want to see the layers beneath the layers beneath the layers, if you want to listen and hear the frequencies and the modulations that are beyond the normal, if you want to tune in and level up, I've got something for you. Sandra has something for you. Wayne has something for you. Rex has something for you. Heidi has something for you. Jenny has something for you. Dan has something for you. Warrior Princess has something for you. Sue G has something for you. And I could go on, and I know I always forget some people, and I'm sorry about that. Halo has something for you. At I forget the name of his YouTube channel right now. But there's people that have things for you if you really do want to level up. But it's only for those with eyes to see beyond 3D, and with those to hear beyond the normal frequency and modulation that we have here. And that's just the way it is, ladies and gentlemen. That's just the way it is. This is what we were talking about. I am the Alpha and the Omega. And if you look at this, it's in Revelation 1:11. More than any other writer within the biblical text, and even many of the writers in the arcane arts, John made a great practice of gematria. John made a great practice of encoding according to even a Pythagorean theorem within his books, especially within the book of Revelation. So when we read, it says, I am the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last. What you see, write it in a book and send it to the 7 churches. 7, the number of completion. Churches, the ecclesiasta, the called out ones. This doesn't mean your church you used to go to. This doesn't mean Baptist, Presbyterian, Methodist, Lutheran, Catholic, Pentecostal. This means the called out ones. What John is saying is the first and the last and the first in a book that was sent to complete number 7 being completion of those that are called out. I think he's telling us the beginning is the end is the beginning. Yeah, what are you talking about? Well, we'll get to it more and more. Let me go ahead and go into some more information for you right here and right now. And let's go ahead and talk about that verse at Revelation 1:11. And let's look at it a little bit in the interlinear, because I want to take a look at what it really says, what it really means, and to break it down so you can begin to see layers behind the layers. It says, first of all, I'm the Alpha. That's like the A. The Alpha, the very beginning, the first letter of the alphabet. And I'm the Omega. Omega is the indeclinable letter. It's the last letter of the Greek alphabet. He's saying, look, I'm the beginning and the end. Even the beginning and the end, what do they share in common? They're both the alphabet. He's the first, the protos. First, the before, the most important, the first principle. And the last. What's the last? End. I'm the Alpha and the Omega. I'm the beginning and the end. He's both Alpha and Omega. He's both beginning. He's both end. The beginning and the end are the same. Stay with me. And the beginning and the end of what we see written in a book sent to the 7 churches. What you see written in a book sent to the 7 churches, the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end are the same. You might think I'm reaching, and that's okay. But stay with me for just a minute, and you just might learn something. Rachel's picking up the 1:11, 11:11, all about the 11s. Sandra's driving, she can only listen. So it seems that John is telling us a great secret, only for those with eyes to see and ears to hear, that in a book written to completed called out ones, and that doesn't have anything to do with what church you go to or don't go to. It doesn't have anything to do. I just started Sandra's videos and got into one and just started bawling. I needed it. This community has helped me so much. It's good stuff. I can't thank you enough. Laura Van, I can't thank you enough. And I'm so proud to be affiliated and associated with Sandra in more ways than one. Anyway, there was a book written to the completed, called out ones. And it, hey, Travis, and it says that the beginning is the end, is the beginning. They're the same. Jeff, what are you talking about? I told you this was going to be deep stuff, so stay with me. The beginning is the end, is the beginning. We've got to understand, ladies and gentlemen, what we're dealing with. John lived in Ephesus. He wrote, most likely, Revelation from Ephesus. Some say Patmos, but he wrote at least parts of it in Ephesus. And you have to understand the context from which this document was penned. Ephesus was the seat of the worship of Diana, who became Danu, of the Tuadudanan, my gods. The temple of Diana was present in Ephesus. Ephesus was a center of the mystery religion. The 7 wonders of the ancient world were erected to indicate the repositories of recondite knowledge. So what did we just read about? 7 churches, 7 wonders, repositories of recondite knowledge. Temple of Diana, mystery religion, Ephesus. Ephesus was an intensely spiritual place. It was not a biblical place. If you'll recall, Paul got thrown out of there, ridden out on a rail. Of Ephesus, Madame Blavatsky wrote that it was a focus of the universal secret doctrines. It was a weird laboratory with a mix of Buddhistic, Zoroastrian, Chaldean, Christian, and even arcane knowledges. And think about this. Paul attempted to burn all the books on the curious arts, the arcane knowledge, but enough of those remained that they were studied after the zeal, the book-burning zeal, wore off. Now, this is stated, and I believe it 100%. It says that, and let me move this out of the way, that the weight of evidence furnished by its own contents, the book of Revelation, could be pronounced a pagan writing, meaning a non-Christian writing. The author has set forth profundities of Egyptian knowledge, profundities of Greek knowledge, profundities of Buddhistic, Zoroastrian, Chaldean, and the curious arts. And must have been an initiate himself, and consequently wrote in the symbolic language of the mysteries. Now, I don't know if John himself was an initiate into those sacred schools. I rather believe that he received the knowledge of all those sacred schools from the master, who, while he was not an initiate of the sacred schools, was the possessor of the knowledge that the sacred schools had been initiated into. So when you understand the book of Revelation, if you desire to really understand the book of Revelation, you have to take it completely out of its biblical context, because it doesn't even belong there. It's not a biblical book. It is more of a book of arcane spiritual wisdom. It's more of a book of arcane spiritual knowledge. It really has its place within the Nag Hammadi. It really would have a better place within some of the more esoteric, hidden works of which we are now becoming aware of. So very powerful, very interesting. Let me take a quick look into the chat room and see if I'm losing everybody. Sound is good, good, good. We're in Atlanta. Melissa loves her MYSTECH. Was her first time she messed that up. We can correct the sizes if you like. Sandra D's in the house, absolutely. 111, 11, 1, 11, 11, all of that. Some people know of the GTA, NCK, CWB community and still refuse to free themselves. That's all right. We'll do our best. Wendy Johnson says she started meditating 4 days ago. I feel more at peace with myself, she says. I'm up to 10 minutes a day now, folks. Both Johns were initiates, says Travis. Okay, Travis, I won't argue with you about that. I rather thought maybe he got the information from the master, but if he was an initiate, I can't argue with that because he certainly wrote like initiate, whether he was or not. So let's go back and take a look again at more of our wisdom here. And I don't know how long I'm going to go today because we have a few things going on, but let's go ahead and get back into this. Revelation was written, this is according to Manly P. Hall, to reconcile the discrepancies between the early Christian and pagan religious philosophies. And we have to talk about this word pagan. The definition of the word pagan means, one, people that don't live in the city, so they're less likely to be involved in the fancy commerce-based religions like Christianity, Judaism, Islam. Pagan also means, by definition, a person that holds religious faith that is at odds with the dominant religious faith of any particular age, era, or location. So John, being an initiate, as Travis Thorpe would say, or having learned from an initiate, being possessed of initiate knowledge, wrote a book highly encoded for those with eyes to see and with ears to hear, sent it to 7 churches and told them, this book being sent to you, the beginning is the end is the beginning, and that's a key, and we're going to get back to it. But John was trying to bring people together, Christian, pagan, mystery, bring it all together. Why? Because that's what the master tried to do. He tried to give us the best of all the human wisdom, the best of all the human wisdom of religion, of arcane knowledge, of just being good to each other. And I believe he gave us some wisdom from beyond this dimension, even beyond this planet or universe. So Revelation is the attempted amalgamation of all this arcane knowledge into a workable document, while not meant to give you everything you need, meant to put you on the road to finding what you need. It's a fusion of non-Christian, and by Christian, we mean the original message of the master, not this fear and guilt control matrix that we have now. It's a fusion of pagan religions and the religion of the master, or the teachings of the master. And it bears irrefutable evidence of the activities of initiated minds operating through the early church. And you've got to remember, that word church means the called out ones. The ekklesia is the Greek word. It doesn't mean those that are in by 9 and out on time. It doesn't mean those that are, going to school and are going to church and leaving their mark in the church, which is a black spot where they sit their butt for years after years after years on the light colored pews. I've been in a church that had that. I pastored a church that had that. It is those with eyes to see, those with ears to hear, that are able to look beyond one religion's perspective and are able to see the fusion that the master was bringing of faiths and isms and arcane knowledges. In the first chapter of the Apocalypse, which is Revelation, and I'm reading from Manly P. Hall again, St. John describes the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end that is the beginning that is the end. And he stood in the midst of 7, there's that number again, 7 churches, 7 candlesticks, 7 wonders of the world, surrounded by flaming planetary regions. This sublime one epitomizes in one impressive and mysterious figure the entire sweep of humanity's growth, past, present, and future, and their gods. Revelation wasn't written to show you what this false, puny, phony, flawed, I believe dead or banished God of the Bible was going to do. We've had way too narrow a perspective and a perception, or at least not what he was going to do in the future. This book is written to open our eyes to the enormity of divinity, the enormity of spirituality, the enormity of even who we are. If you read the description in Revelation chapter 1 of this great being, I was sharing this with Sandra the other night, it could just as well be Lord Shiva as it could be the God of the Bible, or the one that many of you would call Jesus. Let's just look at this. Let me go into the King James Version, bless God, because I know that's the one that you guys that care really like. So I might as well at least try to contextualize myself for some of you, the ones that you're used to. Let's take a look at this. And let's just look at this presentation. Well, here's John. And he hears this voice. I'm going to show you this in the interlinear because it's so important that you see it here. In the midst of 7 candlesticks, one likened to a son of man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, girt about the paps with a golden girdle, hair like wool. Let's go into this. Let's go into verse number 13 in the interlinear. Revelation 1:13, showing you that Revelation is a book that really isn't a Christian book. It's a book of knowledge that bridges beyond any one particular religion. Now, what I want you to see is this being was in the middle of some lampstands. What in the world is a lampstand? Hope you can see this. It might be a little bit small. It's a luknos. What is a luknos? It's a lamp. It's something that brings light. This being was standing in the middle of 7. There we go again. 7 things that bring light. 7 things that put out illumination. In the midst of, again, 7, which is what? Completion. In the midst of complete illumination. Somebody's getting that. In the very midst of complete illumination, with complete illumination beaming out from him, her, them, they, was one like, and do you see that word right there? A. It wasn't like the Son of Man, which is written in Revelation by the, what are they called? The transcribers, the translators that lack integrity. The translators that already have an agenda trying to make you think it is this Jesus figure they've created. But no, it was like a son of man, a son of man, a son of man, not the Son of Man. A father, a heavenly father, a heavenly being. It was a heavenly being from which was emanating completion of illumination. You've heard Sandra talk about a meeting with a being that was beaming from the midst of complete illumination. And it wasn't Jesus. And he was clothed, this being, all the way down to his feet. And he was clothed. What does that mean? He was clothed. He had on some clothes. Sometimes it just means what it means. He was clothed with a garment that went down to his feet. And if you get into the depths of the Greek, which my Bible college education cursed me with the ability to do, it's almost like he's sitting in the lotus position. His garments are flowing over him down to his feet. It doesn't mean necessarily it's as long as to his feet. Because even in the old days when they were wearing those garments, they didn't go all the way down to their feet because they'd get dirty, they'd get sandy, they'd get tangled. You know, they were below the knee, maybe mid-calf. It didn't go all the way down to their feet. But if you're sitting in a lotus position with your feet, guess what? You're going to have your clothing going all the way down to your feet. And it's interesting, they couldn't see the feet. They just saw the clothes going down to the feet. And girded about, he was wearing this sash, he was wearing this garment, he was wearing this tie, and it was golden. Did you see the pictures of Jesus? His is red or it's blue. It's never golden. And I'm not going to do this for you because I want you to do it yourself. Oh, what the heck? I'll do it. Where can I go? I'll go out of my email here. Shiva. Sorry, I hope you didn't see anything there. Shiva, images, Lord Shiva. Oh, what's he wearing? 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 Looks like he's wearing what? A gold sash. Am I saying that John saw Shiva, described Shiva in Revelation chapter 1? All I'm saying is the description is much more accurate of Shiva than it is of Jiva or Jesus, but that misses the point even there. The point is that it is a divine figure from which exudes all illumination, and it's a divine figure ambiguous enough, it's a divine figure suggestive enough, it's a divine figure undefined enough that practitioners of religions of the East could see Lord Shiva. Practitioners of religions of the North could see a divinity of their understanding. All peoples could see a divinity of their understanding. It's not just Jesus. It's not just Lord Shiva. It's not just your God. Revelation was written. I think it looks like Shiva personally. And Shiva is the embodiment of Alpha and Omega, beginning and end, destroyer, bringer of life. That's just my editorial comment. But Revelation is written and constructed so anyone and everyone can see and understand and receive from deity that is consistent with their own experience. Let's go back into the chat room for a little bit, and I'm about ready to wrap up, I think, for this little episode. Let's see what we got here. Good magical morning. Thank you very much. Mike Thompson enjoys my wisdom or what there is of it. I'm glad you enjoy it. Nagamati must read. Original message of the Christ was replaced. Absolutely. I am and I know more. Absolutely. 7 candlesticks, 7 chakras. Good point. Very interesting stuff. Thank you. Jeff, I love how you break this down. This is so helpful. Thank you so much. Somebody wants to give Sandra a hug. I know the feeling. The God of your understanding, says Travis. Very well put, Travis. That's what it is. It's the God of your understanding, and it's written so that everyone can embrace this understanding with the God and in the face and in the way and in the truth of the God of their own understanding, which means that we should give each other room to have multiplicities of belief within fellowship. Revelation was written to take in the entire sweep of humanity and our gods. That's why Revelation was written the way it was written. And let me leave you with this before we go, and we'll go into part 2 probably on tomorrow or maybe later today. Let me leave you with some fascinating information about John the Initiate. And this is what makes me think even more that there's way more to what we think about here with the book of Revelation. John, says Manly P. Hall, and says tradition, that he didn't depart from this life in the usual manner, but he walked into a burial vault, like a room where you put, those big ornate coffins and whatnot. He walked into the room while still alive and vanished forever from mortal sight. The same guy that said, I was called up through a portal into the heavenlies and I looked around and checked some stuff out. The same guy that said that he was pulled up through a wormhole and checked out a bunch of heavenly visions. The same guy goes into his temple, walks into another wormhole, vortex, portal, vanishes forever from mortal sight. Was John even a human being? Remember, John was the last of the apostles. I have a book called Final Message of the Last Apostle. He was the last one. He was over 100 He was over 100 years old when he wrote this stuff, yo. Was he even human? Did he just come here with the Christ? Is that why John was the disciple that the Christ or the Master loved? Is that why they were the closest, arguably, with the Magdalene? Was John also a manifestation of one of the Elohim? Because, cousin, he didn't just die. He walked through a portal. Where'd he go? Where is he now? And what would he tell us about the book of Revelation, the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end? The end is the beginning is the end. Wow. Deep, deep stuff. You're not going to hear this anywhere else. You're not going to experience this anywhere else. You're not going to be able to take advantage of this anywhere else. Subscribe to this channel. Visit this channel often. And if you meditatively wish to help in this work, the best way you can do it is to help me help you through these MYSTECH bands or through the services that I offer on a donation basis. Many appointments coming up this week. We can offer everything from clearing, exorcism, things of that nature. But what we really need to get people doing is the LIFETRACK analysis and repair, so you can get connected to the divine database and have the comforter activation that will change your life. And let me tell you something, if you adopt a practice of meditation, it makes things that much easier. Thank you to Sandra D for teaching me. I'm now up to 10 minutes and it is making profound differences and changes in my life. And it even helps me grow sideburns. How about that? One more quick look into the chat room and we will wrap this up. Travis says that Johns are initiates, laugh out loud. Travis says that Egyptians averaged 90 years back then. Wow. Back when the mortality age was probably 40, 45. Isn't John the apostle that Jesus said, if I want him to wait here till I come back, what's it to you? Julia Cosby, great catch. That's what he said. That started the rumor that John would never die. And if the master said, hey, if he's going to be hanging around till the end, what do you care? Wow. Maybe John learned the way. Therefore, good is not good, evil is not evil, life is not life, death is not death. 7 stars brings that to us from the Gospel of Philip. I give a small monthly donation and encourage everyone to do so. Super easy through PayPal. I believe she's talking about Sandra. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. I hope it gives you some new perspective on the book of Revelation. I hope it gives you some fresh perspective on the book of Revelation. And just wait till next time, because I'm about to blow your mind. I'm about to blow your mind. Alpha and Omega, the beginning is the end, is the beginning. Visit jeffreydarty.com. Follow me on Twitter at UNindoctrinate. Subscribe to Sandra D. Angelo's channel and look for us working together and look for the great work that Sandra does on her own. And I hope that you'll continue to follow my attempts to help you guide your own spirit, be your own guru, master your own ascension. My effort to encourage you to ask questions and question answers. And I hope you always remember, you're divine, you're sovereign, you're free. Go ahead, do it. Indoctrinate yourself.